This is Talk About Topeka on Gab Local TV and TV 25. This episode brought to you by Field of Greens and The Break Room. And here's your host, Chris Schultz.
All right, well, this week we have a great show for you here on Talk About Topeka, here on GabLocal.tv. I want to thank you all for joining us, and we used to start the show out a little differently. Typically, we start the show out now, a little chatter between Frank and I, and might as well say hi to Frank. Frank, how are you in the booth over there?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Doing great.
Good.
Great.
I'm glad to hear it.
Now, you remember how we've been doing Talk About Topeka actually, like 4 years, like a long time. We've been on television and we had a radio show and all that. We've had several different ways that we've started the show out, and one of the clips that we have, we did one about Google. Remember when we were trying to get Google to come to Topeka?
Oh yeah, I remember. We were Google Topeka and then April Fool's Day they were Topeka instead of Google. I loved it. Yeah.
That's right. So for right around that time, we thought we'd pay a tribute back to Google here around April Fool's Day. But about that, because they did not pick us, obviously here in Topeka, they picked Kansas City, actually. And the irony of all of that is that a lot of the stuff we do with TV 25, like our stuff in Kansas City, we use Google Fiber up there. How cool is that? So it's very cool. And we've obviously been telling people, if you want to save $1,000 a year, you should, cut the cord on cable and just do some streaming. And that's one of the things that's really, really big right now, that if, the gigabit fiber expands, and maybe we can court our friends at Google, maybe it'd be a good time around this time of year to remind them, Topeka still loves them. And I thought a good way to do that would be to maybe show that clip that we did from years ago when we found out that the move wasn't going to happen to Topeka back then. But we know technology is advancing, so hopefully they'll make it right down the road here, right, Frank?
Oh, I think it's coming. They're getting closer with the cable company to be able to get higher speeds. Nowhere near what they can get with Google Fiber.
Now, if we could just get all the government stuff out of the way of the middle of it and let us just have the fastest internet without lobbyists buying their way in and around that corner, well, that would be awesome. But I hope Google can get that rocking and rolling for us. Enjoy this clip from years ago about Google versus Time Warner Cable. We all remember Topeka's brief flirtation with Google in a publicity bid to be the site of their ultra-fast fiber internet. Enough drink to wash away the wife and kids, but not enough to drown the memory. I was a fine young man all those years ago. A hazy afternoon at my downtown office when I heard the news. Kansas City, the older brother who always got the attention. The sweet deals, the dames, the broads, the fillies, the Phillies, the Phillies, and now the fiber. Well, the tables have turned in a most interesting way. One that has us saying, thank goodness it wasn't Topeka. Broadband in the United States is quite slow compared to other modern countries, and it's especially anemic in the Midwest. So Google's fiber will be quite the blessing to everyone who isn't an existing internet service provider. In a move that even surprised our most jaded staff writers, Time Warner Cable is offering their Kansas City employees a chance to win $50. All they have to do is provide their name and everything they know about Google's operations, where lines are being put up, sales channels, anything. As a business owner myself, I would definitely be worried if competition moved in and was at least 20 times faster than what I offered. But for ethical business practices, this is just above tapping Google's communications, which Time Warner can't do because they don't use fiber. I assume their next step is sending enforcers to their reported locations. Yeah, these fiber optic cables are real pretty. Sure would be a shame if something were to... Wow, no wonder you like this stuff so much. At this point, it's safe to say that us Topekans dodged a bullet. The last thing we need is a turf war, even if it is between ISP nerds. Google and Kansas City can have each other. On to the next project. Topeka needs to be where they filmed that West Side Story remake.
This episode brought to you by Field of Greens and The Break Room, because TV 25 cares.